Good morning, everyone, and welcome to my YouTube channel, Dr. Stanley. I'm Dr. Loretta Stanley, and today is September 1st, 2015. We are going to learn about the conjunction between Venus and Mars. There's the glyph for Venus. It's a little circle with a plus on the bottom, and then Mars is a circle with that arrow on it. Okay, so both Venus and Mars are both in Leo at 14 degrees 55 minutes. From this moment forward, I'm going to say 15 degrees because this conjunction, both of them at 14 degrees 55 minutes, it's only 5 minutes away from switching over to 15 degrees. So we're just going to call it 15 degrees. So let's see what that looks like on the chart wheel. Right here is the chart wheel for today. And I always like to use this chart wheel instead of the more plainer chart wheel that doesn't have this perimeter around it. This perimeter shows every single degree of the wheel. It shows all 12 signs. It shows every single degree. Remember, there are 360 degrees to a wheel. That means that there are 30 degrees for 12 sun signs. 12 times 30 is 360 degrees. So here we have it right here on this particular chart wheel that I ran today for New York City. I always use New York. Anyway, here you'll see the 14 degrees 55 minutes for Venus in Leo and Mars in Leo. And what I want you to do, I want you to take and use this chart. I want you to lay it over your chart. Find where Leo is. Look on your chart and see where Leo is. And remember, we always count counterclockwise. We read the chart counterclockwise. So we would be counting this way for 14 degrees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You see that longer line right there? 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's where 14 degrees 55 minutes or 15 degrees would be for Leo in this chart. So let's use Princess Diana of Wales chart. Let's look at her chart. And it's believed that she was born at 7:45 p.m. in Sandringham, England. When we look at her chart wheel, we find the Leo glyph. We count counterclockwise. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right about there, of course, in between 3 degrees and 16 degrees, we would find 15. We wouldn't find it after 16 because 15 comes before 16, right? So right there is where this Mars-Venus conjunction would hit her chart in the 8th house, in the 8th house of other people's money that comes through other people other than yourself. It's not your salary, it's somebody else's salary. It's loans and mortgages and lotteries and windfalls and stocks and bonds and money that came through some other place other than your own. That's where it would have shown up for her. So what you want to do, every day I post the chart wheel, you want to take this chart wheel and you want to crank it around, find where Leo is. This is what she would have done. She would have lined up her Leo right there and said, okay, right there. Oh yeah, it's hitting my 8th house. That's how you find out where these planets are hitting you. Now, I want to take this even a step further. Well, I'll tell you a little bit about the Venus and Mars conjunction here, because you can read about that on my website, drstanley.com, and that's drstanley.com. I have a D in my last name. And if you look at the astrology button over on the left-hand side of my website, you'll see the astrology button. They're all in alphabetical order, all the buttons. Click on the astrology button, and you're going to see a cajillion different links. Just scroll your eyes down and you'll see the links for aspects and symbols. And there you can read about the Venus and Mars conjunction. But what a conjunction is think of it as a laser beam. That is a laser beam. It's real tight, intense, emphasized energy. A conjunction emphasizes the energy of the two planets involved. And here we have Venus and Mars. Venus is feminine, estrogen, and Mars is testosterone, masculine. This is literally girls playing with Barbie dolls and boys playing with trucks and slamming them into the walls. It's aggressive, masculine energy, and it's soft and gentle, feminine energy. At the same time, because it's emphasizing the needs of one another, one being love and one being aggression. There is a strong desire here to be desirable to other people. This is pushy, it's flirtatious, it cannot take no for an answer. It keeps pushing and pushing. We push ourselves on our love or our lover. We're really going after love right now. We really need a lot of attention. It's also animal magnetism and sexuality. Ooh. So read about that on the website, because this is really important to understand about yourself, because Venus is aesthetic and artistic. It's love and beauty, while Mars is action oriented. It's busy and it's hyper. It's assertive and it's aggressive. Venus seeks to empower, while Mars wants power. Venus just wants to hold hands and sing kumbaya, have peace and harmony. And Mars is looking for a fight. It's a warrior. Come on, I'll kick your ass. That's the way Mars is. Venus is going, I don't want to fight. Let's make love, not war. Okay, so this is really kind of strange energy. But you should have been feeling this energy as these two planets were coming closer together in the last few days. That's an applying aspect. If I wrote your expansive natal chart and you look under the chart points, all the aspects I will have said, here's the orb with then 1 degree orb, 5 degree orb, 6 degree orb, and it will say whether it was an applying or separating degree. Applying degree means that the two planets, no matter what the angle is here, that they were either coming closer together in degrees, which is applying. And when things are applying, you should be getting that intuitive feel of the energy. Then they're exact, meaning, oh, you're feeling it all right. And then after that, like tomorrow, these two planets are going to be separating in degrees. They're going to be pulling further apart from one another. Okay, and that's a separating degree where it will leave you feeling either relieved, like, whoo, glad that's over, or you're going to feel refreshed, or wow, that was really great, you know? So, anyway, so the other thing that I want to show you and teach you today about the chart wheel, and folks, all these little tidbits, I'm going to be going over these things in the charts every day, and it's just going to become second nature to you. So I want to go back to the more simpler chart that doesn't have these lines around it. See these degrees? I want to go back to this chart here on Princess Diana. I want you to see that the chart wheel is broken down into 4 quadrants. Okay, right there. 4 quadrants means that there are 3 houses per quadrant. Okay, so in the first quadrant, we have the first, second, and third house. In the second quadrant, we have the 4th, 5th, and 6th house. In the third quadrant, we have the 7th, 8th, and 9th house. And in the fourth quadrant, we have the 10th, 11th, and 12th house. Now, if I wrote your expansive natal chart, I did write about these quadrants in your chart. And I also said which quadrant you were strong in, which one you were the strongest in. Now, the first quadrant, let's just say that the Mars-Venus conjunction lands in your first quadrant, meaning it lands in your first, second, or third house. That first quadrant is all about developing yourself. It's about developing your identity. You say who, you say when, you say why, you say where, and you say how much. This is you getting your you down straight. That first house is about your self-concern. It's about your individuality. And as you're dealing with your self-worth here, which is going to dictate your money from here on out. Okay, that's why it's so important to develop these houses. And then that third house is you communicating with other people. It's your style of learning, your style of communication, it's your body language. These 3 houses. Okay, so if that conjunction is transiting in this area, that's the focus of the quadrant. That's the laser beam right there. Now, if you find that the conjunction between Venus and Mars is in your 4th, 5th, or 6th house, this second quadrant, while the first quadrant was all about developing the self, the second quadrant is about expanding your awareness outside of yourself. You're moving outside of yourself and toward other people now, which begins in the family. Because this 4th house is home and family. This fifth house is children and dating. We're forming closer relationships with others. And then the sixth house is where we're kind of moving outside the house, but we are, meaning that we're having relationships with employees and coworkers, with people at work. And this also is small animals. This is also volunteerism. Okay, we haven't committed yet. Once we get past this line right here, we move into the seventh, we're going to get committed. Okay, and I mean in relationships, not mentally. Although sometimes relationships can cause us to be committed, but in a crazy way, right? Been there, done that. Okay, so this third quadrant, seventh, eighth, and ninth house. This is we've worked on the self. We have had an awareness about others, and now we're expanding even more toward worldly issues and committed relationships and partnerships here. We're going out into society. We're really putting ourselves out there. So we're looking to expand our connections with other people. We got a bigger outlook on life. We're not really out there publicly, but we're getting there. Okay, we're getting real close. We're stepping outside of even these tighter, more intimate relationships. So if the Venus-Mars conjunction shows up in this third quadrant for you, that's where the laser beam is. Okay. Now, folks, this can be said for any of these aspects that I talk about on any given day, whether that was a full moon in Pisces a couple days ago, or the Sun-Neptune connection, opposition that occurred just yesterday. What is today? Today's Tuesday. Okay, so then the fourth quadrant here, 10th, 11th, and 12th house. This is really interesting. This is just really interesting. Every time it comes back to the self, okay? Everything always comes back to the self, all right? So we've done the first quadrant about the self. We've done the second quadrant where we've got an awareness of other people moving outside of ourselves. Now we're really committing to bigger things, even outside of people. Okay, we're getting brave. We're kind of really stepping out into the waters now. And then when we get into the 10th, 11th, and 12th house, this 10th house really causes us to want to make our mark on the world. We want to be beneficial. Sometimes we can get caught up in an ideal, get our fist in the air, and that's our public image. You know, maybe it's through your work or profession, that sort of thing. But this is where you become an influence on the world. This is your career and profession. This is groups and organizations. And right here's where you go back into yourself. This is a reflective house. This is when it's all said and done and you need to stop and think, and then it starts all over again. That chart wheel starts all over again. We are in this constant cycle of life for ourselves. It's so crazy awesome, folks. So we just keep swirling around. But you want to do it gracefully. You want to do it gracefully and easily. You know, if you've been coming to my website long enough, then you know that my daily motto is easily and effortlessly now. Now, get out there, go play yourself up, and practice being you.